Welcome to my channel where we question everything. Today's topic is why I disagree with the Duran and the video that they released, I think on the 2nd of December. I don't know what to say anymore. Effectively, I know the Duran makes a video every day. I know that Alexandra and Alex in their own private channels make a video every day. So maybe they need some story or narrative in order to make that video. But the contents in the last couple of weeks has seriously deteriorated. In this specific video, they talk about maybe if, when, rumors, even that if it might happen. And you know, there's so many if and buts and so on that it's all speculations. What's the use of having a video when you speculate about things? And might as well tell a fictional story. So basically, I don't know really what to say. I listened about 10-15 minutes into the video and then I stopped listening. Because it's all garbage. And it's not I'm trying to be nasty. It's just garbage. So let me talk about what they have said in the first couple of things. So they talk about the big Russian offense. And before we start, just remember, after the Kherson withdrawal by the Russian troops, a lot of the fighting has calmed down. There's really not much going on the front. I believe the Russians are now preparing probably for the reserves to arrive, the 300,000 plus. They are probably waiting and moving in the armament and equipment to fit these 300,000 plus soldiers out. A lot of these soldiers will be used in the logistical department, yes, that's all right. There will be a lot of military planning for the next phase of the war. So that's also going on the way. But as soon as the Kherson withdrawal happened and so on, fighting was intensified near the city of Donetsk. And apparently this is the big battle that is being held at this stage. But I don't understand. You know, I've said it many times in my previous videos. Priorities, 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 priorities. If Putin really wanted to liberate Donetsk and Lugansk and so on, then first I think they should have done is to protect the city of Donetsk. But for 9 months now, the city of Donetsk has been bombarded by the Ukrainian forces. A lot of civilians have died or got injured. And for some other reason, that part of the front wasn't that important to the Russians, which has always amazed me. But I only realized that about 2 months into the special military operation. And I also realized when I started, in the beginning, I saw the map. Well, I looked at the map, but I never saw the map. I never saw what was really happening. And I didn't notice the things. And I still believe that a lot of pro-Russian punters don't see the map. They look at it, well, they look at it, but they don't see it. And they don't understand what is happening on the maps. And there are multiple sources available that you can check it up. Pro-Ukraine doesn't really matter. You just have to view it from the point of a pro-Ukrainian, and then you can make your own conclusions with the information that it is pro-Russian, pro-Ukraine. So you don't have to throw that information totally away. But in any case, so he talked about the city of Marianka, Avdovika, Ojava, and well, he says he doesn't know where they are on the map. Surely he could have made the effort, and if you really want to talk about these maps, and go look at the map and go look for these towns. Isn't that what one's supposed to be doing? In any case, all these cities are not near to each other. They are fairly far apart. They have their specific aim, military aim, and their specific reason why they are being attacked by the Russians. And whatever motives Alexander tries to put behind these military movements, it's no logic. It's basically boring and junk. So don't express your meaning about something that you really don't know. But what I would give them credit, I give the Russians credit that finally after 9 and 10 months, they are now getting their priority right and protecting Donetsk city. Finally. And you see also there's a lot of action going on in that region. There's a lot of troops going on. And you also see some of the, on the map that I can show you, you will see that there are some fair amount of Ukrainian troops stationed in that area. But, like always, the Russian advance is slow. It's a grinding operation. It is a slow movement, but it's consistent movement. So there's nothing to write home to. Slow movement. The most important is if they stop the bombing on the next, then that would be a major achievement. I don't know what they are talking about. Then you talk about the liberation of Bakhmut. How long have I been hearing about Bakhmut? Bakhmut. It's been taken over by the Russians. They entered the city. Wara. And that's 4 months ago, and I'm still hearing the same story. But who was involved in the initial phase? There was one unit, Russian units, and the Wagner group that was supposed to conquer Bakhmut. Well, they were too few troops. They couldn't achieve it really. And there's a huge concentration of Ukrainian troops in that region of Bakhmut. So the defense would have been strong. Maybe the Russians have stepped up and removed some of their forces that they withdrew out of Kherson and put it there in the Bakhmut area, which would have made sense. Or they used some of their reserves that they called up. And now it's the grinding story, and yes, they will conquer Bakhmut. Yes, the Ukrainians are suffering casualties. They show the article of this commander from the Ukrainians, what is it called? Petro Kuzek. He's now from the Sobotia battalion, and he talks about his troops that are sort of in the trenches with the corpses, and then standing in knee-deep high water, and then now have to repel the Russian offense. That's all the thing that he said. And he said, yeah, the losses are colossal. But I have as many times said before, what do these terms mean? Colossal means something for one person and something else for another person. If he said half of my troops are wiped out, then I would have said, and how many? If he said to me 1,000 troops, half of it, I would have said colossal. If he had 100 troops and half of that was killed, then I said no. And if it's colossal, it's 20% of 100 people, then it's 20 men, and that's not colossal. But for some other people, it's colossal because loss of life is terrible. But like all the other commentators, they always try to refer to the Second World War. Well, let me do it as well. I think in Ardennes offensive, then 400,000 men were killed. 400,000 men were killed in 6 weeks. What are we talking about? 10 months? A war of attrition? Artillery? Slow grinding? Possible, which we'll come to now, 100,000 Ukrainians killed? Yes, it is terrible. Like I said, human life lost is terrible. But you've got to put it in perspective. You got to define it. You cannot go on and maybe if, but, colossal, major. No. No, 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 no. And then we get to the story about Ursula von der Leyen. And everybody is making a big hoo-ha about that. And it was a slip of the tongue. And it's the truth. The truth that she said for the first time in the last 9 months and plus, because she has lied a lot. But the first truth she has ever told is the amount of casualties of the Ukrainian forces killed in action. So she's been lying all the time. But when she says something that you like, then you assume that is the truth, and then you start believing it. But only that piece. The rest is all nonsense. It's like the shit. She said, yes, 20,000 civilians have died. Now, if you agree to the 100,000 Ukrainians, then you have to agree to the 20,000 civilians as well. And that one is hard to swallow. But we know 20,000 civilians is propaganda. That's not really what happened, because Russia refrained from targeting civilians. So if you want to argue about 20,000 Ukrainian civilians that have died, then it must be the Ukrainian army that killed them. And you cannot hide that away. Call a spade, and bullshit, bullshit. The fact that she's head of the European Union, the fact that she's in Brussels, the fact that NATO is in Brussels, the fact that NATO personnel and EU personnel mingle in bars and go to the same entertainment places means zilch, nothing, nada, zero, nothing. The only people that really know are the people that must know, and that is the Ukrainian command and probably the American intelligence services. Even if they have the correct numbers available, because the Ukrainians will lie as well. Doesn't mean 100,000 men is a number that has been thrown around now for some time. And then Alexander said, no, it has been confirmed by various sources. Yes, by various sources that all refer back to the video of Ursula von der Leyen. Show me any other proof. Show me any other sources, which I cannot trace back to that video. And I'm telling you straight, you can't do that. It's a circular narrative, like always. You know, I don't know if I've mentioned my previous videos. A couple of years back, I can't remember now, so don't quote me on the precise circumstances. But there was a campaign manager in America. Now, it was before the story of fake news and fake information has become mainstream. So it must have been before the COVID. So I believe it's about 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe it was between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton campaigned for the leadership. Or it was, no, Hillary and Trump. But I'm not totally sure. But anyway, it's far back in that. And this campaign manager has said, on record, on the video, that if he wants to smear a candidate, an opposing candidate in an election, then you have to spread a rumor. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. If the rumor is severe enough, it sticks to that person, okay, and it's stigmatized, and then you lose the votes. And then he explained how it does. And if you listen to how it does, then you also can understand where the news comes from and where the narrative comes from. Basically, the whole media is structured in layers. Forget about the reporters that are on scene. Yes, they are there, but I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about internet collectors. There's a lot of personnel that peruse the internet for certain articles so they can report on that in their own news. And that is what all the commentators do. Pro-Russian, pro-Western, doesn't matter. We all do it. And he said all he has to do is he has to find a blogger on the lower levels. But he has to have some form of followers. And then you feed him this bit of information. Then this guy posts it on a blog, and then his viewers or readers start to distribute that message. In the meantime, other bloggers, well, the search engine will pick it up. In the meantime, the other bloggers are seeing his article and start to spread the word and write their own articles. And then the second tier comes, and the second tier level goes, sees the first bloggers, the lower level bloggers, information, and start to write collect their information, start to write their report. And so it moves up the chain until it gets to the mainstream media. And then the mainstream makes this news as facts and present it to the population, and that's where the guy is being stigmatized. That's how the system was explained, and I believe fairly well that's how the system is operating. They are all gathering and repeating and re-reporting some sources, and it sort of becomes fact. And again, sorry, I'm now deviating. Coming back to Ursula von der Leyen. If she has always lied, why would you believe her now? Why does she like a round number, like 100,000? Why wasn't it 97,000? Why wasn't it 92,000? Why wasn't it 107,000 men? Why is it not? You know, when people call me the round numbers, I become very suspicious in any case. Because the chance of a round number happening, that's a rarity. And then they come, they're supposed to become a big airstrike that the Russians are preparing. And they are preparing a 300 missile strike. And you can see apparently some videos how the aircrafts are prepped. You see it always on the western side. When the American army goes, you see those aircrafts being taxiing off. You see those afterburners. You flip and see those landing guys. You see the aircraft carriers there, and you see how the guys are moving and pushing their trolleys and bringing the bombs and hooking it up beneath the aircraft. Americans are just good, brilliant. And now the Russians have done something very similar. And according to Alexandra, you know, in the video you can see how these guys are pushing the trolleys with their bombs underneath. And then they ask themselves, but they don't know whether that is real. They don't know whether it's true or whether it's marketing or it's just a scaring exercise. It's a flippant propaganda video. It's a promotional video probably somewhere for some other reason. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. An aircraft is not fitted with bombs and then shift with their loaded armament into a hangar awaiting for commands to taxi off and go and hit their targets. So if this big offense is going to come, then those preparations, those bombs will be hanged onto the aircraft at the last moment. That is how it will work. Well, then the question comes, is there going to be a big offensive? Yes, there is going to be a big thing. Everybody knows that it's a logical next step in the war. The Russians have now accumulated, they had 200,000 or plus 250,000. Numbers are semantics. Say, let's 200,000 men in the first wave at the start of the SMO, and now they have put up another 300,000 plus the volunteers. And now we say we have 550,000 soldiers, Russian soldiers, involved in the Ukrainian war. Well, not all of them, as I said in my previous, not all of them are going to be fighting part. Most of them are going to be logistics and so on. That is how it is. The logistical part is the most important part. No ammo, no fuel, no nada. So, how many will that be? Let's say 40% will be fighting of the Ukrainians, of the Russian forces. That's 200,000. Is it? Yeah, 200,000. Then in the same sentence, and he says, yeah, the Ukrainian forces have been limited to 198,000 men, fighting men. He specifically says fighting men. So the two armies are balanced. If they are not, then where's your ratio that usually all your people started calling off? You got to have a ratio of 3-1 when you attack a defensive position. Where's that? Oh, that's suddenly gone in the wind. But I always argue that ratio is in any case old Napoleon style type of numbers. Modern warfare has changed a lot. And weaponry has made a big changes. And tactics have made a huge change. So the Russians don't need a 3-1 ratio. But they are preparing for a big offensive. And it will happen in winter. Why? Because they cannot wait until summer. Because if in that period Ukraine will be resupplied, time is on the side, well, not time, but there is pressure on the military of the Russians to proceed. The more time they give the Ukrainians, the more time they have to recruit, reinforce their positions, reorganize, bring more weapons, bring more logistics in place, move the equipment around into certain positions where it is required. So you got to keep the pressure going. There is no such thing as Russia has all the time in the world. No, it doesn't. Not if you are a military commander. From a political side, yes. But don't be too sure about that either. But again, it is maybe, I guess, I don't know. The information is sketchy. I think it's going to be like that. Maybe, I don't know. So what the fuck do you know in any case? So I'm sorry, I'll stop doing this. I'm getting bored about this story. I don't want to listen to speculations. I want to have at least a decent analysis or a decent story or whatever you want to. This is really getting boring. Any case, that's my story for today. Subscribe if you want to. Tell your friends if you want to. Tell those Duran people to flip and get their act together. And until next time, cheers.